Okay, greetings. This is Classic Games Redefined. My name is Rich. I really wish I could use the snowball, but I'm having issues with background noise, so we're using the mic. Not quite as good, but with the latest MrRepzion video, Repzon, and the whole FBI and the death threats and all that, I just wanted this little message to go out to Gamergate people here. And it has to do with the case of where you're perceiving somebody an enemy. Title of this video has to do why these three women and the other social justice warriors and all that are actually a good thing. And bear with me, please listen to this before you thumbs down or anything else here. The premises here is I would highly suggest, to take the view that I'm about to describe here, is to really stop worrying about whether or not somebody makes a buck and is successful that you may not like. Worry about yourself. Worry about what you stand for and getting what you want and finding other people who can agree, not what you can do, money. By the way, I just Google images. That's what this video is. I just want to get these three women up. So, anyhow, let me look at what's going on here for a second and why them being a success and like Anita Sarkeesian able to kickstart things and take people's money and do these videos and feminine frequency and all that, and even the whole making Gamergate look bad is actually a good thing. And I'm going to give you several things. Consider this, if you're on the Gamergate side, a way to tactical, a long-term strategic tactical, using this to your advantage. And maybe getting the world a better place. It has to do with the good thing of having somebody who plays a professional victim. Being a victim in life is not a good thing. To have somebody be a victim is not good. It's not. And when you see somebody as a victim, your natural reaction is want justice. To make sure they succeed, the other person gets theirs and everything else. Because of this natural reaction for justice, and if you had enough people as broad as the internet you have, what you have here is you end up producing a situation where somebody actually can make a living being a victim, playing the victim card, screeching about it, and everything else. So let's look here at somebody else. And I know that seems to be offensive and annoying, and oh my gosh, it's horrible. How can we have something like this? They should get, the cries for justice. Well, let me put it this way. When you have somebody who's really good at playing the professional victim card, you could say social justice warriors, certain people on the feminist side, whatever else. Let me tell you the good side of that there. They force you to become a better person. They force you, for one thing, to go on record, as MrRepzion did, to saying you don't support in any capacity that. It also forces you as a person to actually not do anything remotely consider being stupid about it. You also create an environment, if you have established yourself and built yourself up, if somebody ends up doing these here, they undermine their own credibility if they try to play a victim card and stage a hoax and everything else. These three women are considered at the core of the anti-Gamergate side and rallying things, even though this doesn't have to do with the credibility of game journalism and all that, and ethics of game journalism. But let's look at the ethics of the internet. Things get pushed too far. And when you have somebody who plays a professional victim and is a success at doing it, you eventually have to stop doing nonsense that nobody agrees with as being appropriate. And if you're ever caught doing it, you have a problem. Geez, I'm going to do a memory dump from you here. For people on the Gamergate side, you may not know about this. It has to do with the U.S. Chess Federation and where this happens and anything else. There was Sam Sloan, guy from the 70s, very interesting character. Sam Sloan ended up becoming, for some oddball reason, president of the U.S. Chess Federation. He was like president of World Sex League. Very weird character. Okay? He was a weird character. He lasted one term, got voted out, wanted to do change. Well, oddball on the internet. And apparently Susan Poljar and all those other guys were saying there was accusations of him making up these charges, for example, at them and slander and everything else. The funny thing happened. It went to the court. And it was found out Susan Polgar and her husband were actually behind doing fake accounts and attacking them. End result was the individuals playing this. Sam Sloan got vindicated. Susan Polgar and them ended up doing, and the U.S. Federation collapsed. You fake it can account with this internet, with everything else, and you do it, you're going to lose. So you can't pull that. You have to be above everything else, above board. You can speak with reason and intellect, expose like this, but if you make your idea to be an vendetta, to take somebody down, particularly somebody who's very good at being a victim, you're going to lose. So you have to learn how to properly understand and being on the right side and not doing anything remotely resembling this nonsense. And hopefully it gets across the internet. Probably not. But it's going to be a very punishing experience. Consider this a follow-up video to my other video in here where I said to stop. These women who do this, who are actually able to play this and expose this, actually do a service. It's not good. It's not pleasant. It's not fun. I wish it wasn't here. But think about the good. And if you want to think strategically, tactically in what you're doing, think about the good that happens there. So you can go above board. Now you can send your condolences. Be above board and let the other person burn if they're going to be an idiot about this. Because your reputation's online here on the internet. So go ahead and, do what you're going to do. But realize that having people out there who are able to play the professional victim card force you to be a better person. And that's what really should matter. It should be about you getting what you want out of life. Not the fact that somebody else is succeeding you may not like. Anyhow, my own two thoughts. You can feel free. By the way, here, don't do the following. You can give me a thumbs down because you hate this if you want. But stop and think a bit about this here on how having somebody out there and doing diverse opinions able to be a professional victim. And I'm not saying that somebody's an actual victim, but there's some people who are actually really good at when you attack them and make them a victim, they make you pay in spades. When you do death threats, they're able to shriek and shrill and all that and make money off of it. Just stop and think a minute what that environment was and what it forces you to do as a person to actually be able to be better at this and be able to do things and the consequences of doing this. Just think for a minute if there's something good that can come about. I'm not saying this is it and everything else, but just think for a minute on what could possibly good about this. What I'm saying here is just think on that. And I know if you might want to go, oh, I hate these women and everything else. I understand that. You could post below. You could post anywhere. And while these women are vile, Nia Sarkeesian was trained in network marketing and all. Trained in giving seminars. She makes money and exploit a lot of people out of cash. And you can do a video on it and everything else. And you could do all that stuff there. But, and I understand it, and that's a good thing if you want to do it. But, is it possible we can get something from a Godwin's Law perspective out of here? That if you do certain things this way and act in this manner, it works adversely for you. And I don't want to live with coercion or anything else. I'd rather have it. I'd rather have people good. But think on that, please. Just give some thought. Feel free to post some comments below. I think the professional victims, people are able to make a living. You attack them and are able to play this card and score points is actually a good thing. And if they go too far, as I said, remember the U.S. Chess Federation about playing this here and doing it, losing. And remember the Law and Order Special Victims Unit video? How absurd that was. Nobody acts like that. So the reality is, if people are going to have their own judgment, their own opinion, but if you're above board, let it be about who you are as a person, not the fact that somebody's able to capitalize on being a victim. But I have my own two thoughts. Feel free to post below. I've gone way beyond what this is. This wasn't scripted, but I wanted to get up there, and I probably should do better. I will, but anyhow. Approaching about 10 minutes here. Feel free to share your thoughts below or anything else, whatever else. But Yeah, this is a bit controversial, and I do appreciate you listening to this entire thing here. And more like listening because I just picked you up. So anyhow, that's it. So, okay, I do want to thank you for watching, and may your die always roll 5.